A very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I welcome you back to this session with Manish, who is the director of Sky Mount Educat from Dharwad, Karnataka. Due to some internet issues, we were unable to join earlier, but here he is, and he is going to talk about higher education is a basic need for succeeding in life. Before we go ahead and ask Manish's views upon this topic, let me give you a little peep into his career. Manish is actually basically a career counselor, and he is into animation. He has, his academy, the Sky Mount Institute, is a training place for animation, interior design, and job placements. So he has also helped students in selecting the right career path and professionals in getting their dream jobs through the resume and LinkedIn profile building. So I think you are all also in profile, building of people and presenting them well into the market, because that's something sometimes people are unable to do. Instead, in spite of having lots of potential, they're not able to put themselves across beautifully. All right, thank you, Manish, for joining in the Disruptive Education Movement, and we are waiting for you to express your views on this.
Hello, everyone. I thank, first of all, GETI and my host for the evening for giving me this wonderful opportunity to be live on your Facebook page. So let's get on to the topic. Higher education today has become a norm rather than a choice. Before, back in 40 years back, when we were in 1980s, it was more of a choice where high school was considered a higher education. But today, it's considered a bare minimum thing, right? If you say somebody that you've done high school, it is nothing a higher education. It's a bare minimum thing. It's a basic education. So similarly, today higher education has become a basic norm. It is no more a privilege or something which very some people do it. It's a basic norm of education system, and it's a really a must thing. Why? Because today we are living in something called as a VUCA world, which stands for volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. Describe the situation of constant, unpredictable change that is now the norm in this the world we are living in. Look at the number of jobs that are lost in the past few years, be it because of automation, robotics, artificial intelligence, and machine learning, as well as because of COVID. So we are totally shifted to a different work culture where we are working from home. Work from home, which was there before, but it was not so much evident. But now it has become like one of the norm of working world, right? So if you see that we are living in a constant world of change, and the only way to stay relevant in a world where things are changing so drastically is keeping yourself relevant. And the way to keep yourself relevant is higher education. So when I say about VUCA world, it set the stage for managing and leading. The particular meaning and relevance of VUCA often leads to how people view the conditions under which they make decisions, plan forward, how do you manage risk, and how do you foster change, and how do you solve problem. That is the need of the hour. And higher education has a very big role to prepare you for a constant changing world. Let us look at various benefits of higher education in the 21st century. So we look at in various contexts. First is from economic point of view. As per the Bureau of Labor Statistics, it reveals that people with some form of higher education earn more money and have a lower probability of unemployment. They don't tend to remain unemployment if you're highly educated, right? And the second thing is in terms of wealth. So when you're employed and you have positive cash flow coming in, you don't have stress and you don't have financial insecurity. As such, you are likely to live a happier and a healthier life with some form of college under your belt. The third thing is civic involvement, your involvement as a citizen of the country. So people with higher education and gainful employment, they have good financial resources and they often give back to the community. So when you earn well and your network expands, you are more likely to also give back to charity and become involved in volunteer work. The fourth thing is personal development. People with careers tend to lead more structured lives and have a stronger sense of responsibility, a trait that serves as a strength builder in the other areas of life. And people with higher education also have better communication. Most jobs involve some form of written or verbal communication. As such, you will generally improve in both areas during your college and professional career. And higher education makes you realize what are your passions. As with most people, the more you learn, the likelier you are to find your true passion in life. Through the education process, you can explore the various facets of a perspective, feel, and find your strength. You find your ikigai, that is a true passion for living. So if you don't get educated more, you will not find your ikigai. The next thing is greater sense of discipline. The regiments of education can instill you with the discipline required in the professional world. By learning to follow complex instructions and meet strict deadlines, you will be better prepared for the rigor of the marketplace. And higher education gives you a sense of accomplishment. Each time you complete a school assignment or a job, it's a product of your talent and hard work. So, friends, as you can see, the benefits of higher education in the 21st century are not just career oriented, but it is a complete facet. Being able to develop yourself is invaluable, and having a higher education helps you to do that. So, now a question comes, how higher education can help you in creating more opportunities? Definitely, more education will always give you more opportunities. It's directly proportional. From being in an economy that was once considered manufacturing economy, right? We came from an industrial age, from steam engine, then we came into mass production, then we came into industry 3.0, which was IT. We saw the IT boom and the burst, and then today we are industry 4.0, which is artificial intelligence, machine learning, and so many things, robotics, automation, and so on. So the more you get the more you take higher education, the more you stay relevant, and the more opportunities you get in the constant changing world. The quickest pathway for many, if not most people, to a rewarding career is going to college and getting your higher education. You may not exactly what you want to do after graduating from college. So many people are confused what to do after college or after graduation. But you do at least know you want a career that is more rewarding, it pays well, and it's something you'll feel secure in and satisfied with. These factors are why many people invest in college, both with their money and time. Just, be, just because some people don't get immediate job after graduation, people not stop, studying, going for higher education. We have more and more people every year studying in India as well as going abroad for higher education. A higher education trains you in your chosen field, but also teaches you to understand complex subjects. It helps you to think analytically and communicates your ideas effectively. You also learn important skills such as organization, self-discipline, and how to set the task from start to finish. Higher education helps you become more professional and gives you many work-related skills. Since you learn a broad range of skills in your higher education, you could end up in a field you don't necessarily study for. This can open up new and unexpected opportunities that might not have become available to you had you not received a higher education. Because we find people who have, say, done market in MBA in marketing or finance, and they may get into HR because higher education gives you a broad range of skills. So you may not have to stick to your domain. You can get into any of the things provided you have the right skill set. The second thing is it makes you stay competitive with higher education. Higher education also provides a competitive edge in the career market. We all know that in economic times we are living in today's world, finding job is not guaranteed. The number of people unemployed is still relatively high. The number of new career opportunities isn't necessarily enough to put people in job they are seeking. So as a job seeker, you are in competing with a high number of experienced workers who have been out of the workforce for a while and are also seeking work. However, if you have a higher education, it generally equips you for better job security. Generally speaking, employers tend to value those who have completed college than those who have only completed high school and are more likely to replace that person who hasn't received higher education. So even if the higher education is not really useful, but still people seek employees or seek talent who have a good amount of higher education, right? So furthermore, some companies are even go far to pay your tuition fees because they consider an educated employee an invaluable asset to the organization. We have seen so many companies sponsor MBA education for their top employees. A college education is an investment that doesn't just provide you with substantial reward, it benefits the hiring company as well. So not only you, even the company gets benefited if they hire employee with higher education. Graduates of college who have multiple skills may be less susceptible to layoff during an economic recession than less skilled workers. And although it isn't a guarantee, chances are you're likely to struggle with unemployment long term if you have a higher education. The number third thing is learn new skills with higher education. During a college experience, you are learning new skills. You are able to listen to lectures and read books that are from top experts in a particular field. And this encourages you to think, you learn to analyze problems, you learn to analyze real world situations, you explore new ideas, and most importantly, you become inquisitive. You ask questions, right? And also, you tend to be creative and problem solving. So, these are the life skills which higher education gives you. And these skills allows you to grow and develop even further, which provides you with that competitive edge in the job market. You'll also be expanding your skills and knowledge, grasping abstract theories and concepts, expressing your thoughts clearly in writing and speech, and increasing your understanding of your community and the world. Let me give an example. In this post COVID or during COVID, many people who have been lost job, once they reskill themselves with new age skills like data science, machine learning, analytics, they immediately again got a job back, right? So even though if you're unemployed for time being, the only way to skip upskilling yourself. That is very important. The economy that we are living and the economy which was there 20 to 40 years ago is a vast difference. Today, the existing market is made up of more architects, artists, designers, healthcare workers, information technology experts, video game developers, and so forth. So if you see, all these are skilled people. You have the chance to adopt to this new era and succeed in it with higher education that incorporates this field into its curriculum. When you combine this knowledge with the actual hands-on experience, you'll be able to thrive in this changing economy. Number fourth is invest in your future with higher education. Investing in your higher education is a huge commitment of money and time. However, you can think of it as a down payment on your future. Investing in your higher education will help you to achieve your career goals and succeed in life in general. There's a lot of hard work involved, but you're preparing yourself for a rewarding and a challenging career that leads to financial security and a fruitful life. Fruitful life. This type of higher education will eventually pay for itself in the long run. Even though universities and college can come with a hefty price tag, you shouldn't let this discourage you from advancing your education. Besides, tuition cost increases, so do the availability of financial aid option. Today you have more finance options than you had a decade or a 2 decade ago. We have banks, we have private institutions funding your education, and so many things. Even if you get admission into allied institutions like IIM, IITs, or ISB, there are banks waiting in queue to fund you, even though without any collaterals at times. The fifth thing is you gain job satisfaction with higher education. A higher education allows you to pursue a career that interests and inspires you, not just about money. When you have the freedom to choose your career, you're more likely to enjoy it. Higher job satisfaction also comes from higher income, better employment benefits, and more advancement opportunities. Often people are looking to get out of their dead end job, which is why they seek a higher education. You see employee in their mid career crisis, they don't find growth, so they take a break, they take a sabbatical, they go back, they come back with new skills, or they come back with a double MBA and get a U-turn in their career or get a J curve in their career. They are seeking an actual career instead of just clocking in every day so they can pay the bills. When you are in a rewarding career, you are more apt to perform your job well and get genuine job satisfaction out of it. When you're more involved, satisfied with your career, you're more likely to be productive and become an asset to the company you work for, which leads to better job security. Higher education also improves your self-esteem and self-confidence, which is a byproduct along with higher education. When you have a higher education, you tend to stand a bit taller and straighter, metamorphically speaking. In other words, you are more confident in yourself and your self-esteem is boosted after you completed those college years. Not only you are better equipped to deal with life's mental challenges, but you are more likely to feel more satisfaction doing so. People doing education in India will not be confident globally. Where the person does his MBA from US, Ivy League, or from UK, some top colleges, you put him in a boardroom of all the foreign directors, he'll be more confident there. So the more higher you go, the more you become confident and stand more taller. Higher education has long been thought as a right as a rite of passage, and therefore, once you have crossed that finish line, you have that extra sense of accomplishment. Nobody can take this accomplishment away from you. It stays with you. Especially in India, if you see in a visiting card, we have a name, then we have a surname, and the next thing people put is their education. So that is the importance we have for higher education, right? And this stays with you along with the name for lifelong. Even if you have to lose the physical college diploma and go on to a different career, then what you studied for, the hard work you put into your journey will never be lost. There will always be rough patches as you move on in life, but you'll always know exactly what it takes to begin something and successfully complete it. This is priceless. To know what you want to do and where to go and starting something from scratch and completing it. And that's what higher education equips you with. And with higher education, you achieve a happier and a healthier life. Among the most vital benefits of higher education is the fact that it helps communities and societies operate smoothly and enhances personal lives. Educated individuals are involved more actively in societal activities like political interest, voting, interpersonal trust, and volunteering, according to the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, that is OECD. When you have more knowledge, you are more inclined to participate in these events and activities. Today, if you see, most of the contribution for COVID relief is coming from people and companies who are well equipped because of higher education and who are knowledge based economies. Higher education makes you more aware of what you are actually capable of as well. This enables you to improve your own life as well as contribute to the world as a whole. When you spend 1, 2, 4, or 6 years learning and developing yourself, you tend to feel more content and happier as you lead an educated life. According to the College Board, this knowledge and the skills you gain and develop over time promotes a healthier and fulfilling lifestyle and cuts back your healthcare cost because people who are more educated tend to take care of their lives even better. Let's take the following statistics for example. Smoking. Those with a 4 year college degree are less likely to smoke, as indicated by the fact the gap between the smoking rates of high school graduates and 4 year college graduates increased to 17 percentage points in the year 2012 from the 2 points back in 1962. It means people who have more higher education are less prone to habits like smoking. The next thing is obesity. Those with higher education are not as prone to becoming obese as those with just a little high school education. Additionally, kids with parents who are more educated also tend to be less prone to becoming obese than other kids. With the additional schooling, taking care of your mind becomes a priority. Therefore, you naturally make your body a priority as well, along with your mind. The bottom line is when you know better, you end up doing better. A education often progresses to a more efficient economy, improvement in people's lives, and contribution to a more stable society. It gives you the opportunity to rise above your parents' socioeconomic status and become something better. When you're born into a lower economic atmosphere, you're more likely to stay there without a college education. There are families where the sons or the next generation have changed completely just because of education. They turn around the fortunes. Remember, a higher education doesn't necessarily guarantee you financial security and a great life. But there are overwhelming facts and statistics, some of which we have shared above, that indicate when people go beyond high school education, they tend to improve their probability of employment significantly, increase their income potentially, and secure their lifestyle. It also creates opportunities for your children as well. They inherit what you build. It's a legacy you leave for your children as well. Because when you're educated well, you'll never hardly will see children of educated parents less educated. You'll find doctors' kids, doctors. You'll find teachers' kids, teachers. You'll find architects' kids, usually architects, or something else, almost at their level or more than their level. Seldom will find kids less educated than their parents. So even if you're challenged with going to college locally, online degrees can make it easier to attain higher education no matter what stage of life you are in. Especially post COVID, even UGC is now recognizing online degrees. We have even correspondence online degrees, which are relevant, and you can do it from whichever part of India you are into. You can even give your exams online sitting at home. One such university which I have come across recently is Sikkim Manipal Jaipur University, which has started recently BCom, BBA, MBA, and MCA kind of courses, which is completely online, including examination. And even you get all access to the classroom training through LMS. There are structured video lessons which you can go through at your own convenience. So just imagine that you just come back from your office in the night, you have your food, you go through these video lessons, you keep yourself with new skills, write the examinations, and whoa, you are with a degree along with your job, right? So things have become much more flexible now, and I strongly feel that you all should bare minimum go for graduation, and if things permit, a post graduation as well as into research, because today India needs more people into research. If you see the statistics, none of the universities in India rank in top 500 in the world, right? And because to one of the factor to make university rank in top rating is the research, and India really lacks in research. So there's a lot of scope for research in India, and we have again bodies like CSIR, which really encourages research along with your education. It even pays you stipend as well, right? And even things like the time what we're living in, COVID, right? It involves a lot of research. There's so much of scope for researchers, for virologists, for clinical lab research, and so on. So researchers are the people who are really, the one who really create content, who are the one who are the creators of the world, because they bring out something which doesn't exist. And all this is only possible because of our education. So with this, I rest my statement, and I strongly encourage people to go for higher education irrespective of the situation. Thank you so much, and back to my host, Shruti.
Manish, I was listening to you very keenly, and I can very well relate to it, and what many people can now relate to it. Initially, I think there would have been a debate from our educationists who are like 20-25 years into education and traditional education. But I think now, after this pandemic, their views have also changed. And yes, what you right now mentioned, that so many higher educations, initially it was like, I remember, I was just one of my team members, she's doing her post graduation. So initially, when we used to prepare for post graduation, it's to be like theoretical papers. We have to write such a lot, and days and months of sitting in the library making notes and preparing. But now I asked her, like, how is your exam going to happen? So she said, it's going to be online. So I said, how will they take your paper online? I mean, it's a theory paper. You have to write such a lot. She said, oh no, it's going to be like MCQ. It's I said, what, in post graduation going to have an MCQ? Like, I'm really jealous of you. So
Right.
and initially, if you would have said the same thing to any person in the university, that for a master's degree, please take an MCQ, it would not
Right.
have been accepted. So this thing that, yes, now very reputed institutions are also taking up these changing things, that
Right. Exactly.
with changing times, the pattern of examination, and I think this will encourage children to take up higher education, because I think
Exactly.
this was one little thing that I have to study such a lot. After class 10th, nobody wants to put their
Yeah.
nose into the books again. So therefore, I think this is a changing trend. Now, coming back to a little bit of questions to you, um, higher education, as such, if I talk about theoretical subjects and subjects that are practically, where you have a vocation attached to it. So, as a career counselor, how much do you see children come to you who have actually got a degree in subjects like psychology? They have done a PhD, or an English literature master, something. So, how do they, what is the job scenario for them? What percentage of such children do you see struggle more, or the ones who have got a vocation along with their higher degree? I mean, getting a higher degree in that particular vocational field, is that
Yes.
a little thing in the market much more appreciated in the market?
Exactly, Shilpi. Like we do see a lot of graduates who are like, even as per the statistics, more than 90% of MBA are not employable, and more than 90% of our graduates are not employable. Why? Because they don't have employability skills. Say, for example, a BCom graduate today, he is not able to file returns after 5 years of commerce education. He is not aware of in and out of GST, right? And that's where the gap which is to be filled between the industry and the academia. There are vocational institutes which gives them the right skills in the period of 6 months to a year, and make them immediately employable. And even with the new education policy which has come up and which will be implemented over a period of few years, there's more stress on this kind of skills right from your sixth standard itself. That is the reason they want to include employability skills from the sixth standard itself, like coding or other skills which are are very important for people to immediately get employed. So with the changing time, we would see more and more institutions as well, coming up with this kind of practical skills, so that people may get easily employed post their completion of studies.
Right.
That answer the question, Shilpi? Yeah.
Yes, I mean, yes, you are correct. You are absolutely right. So, when you must be taking career sessions in schools also for children,
Yes, yes.
right? You must be addressing children. So what is the focus when you are talking to them? Like, the when we were studying, I never had heard there were law examinations, there were competitions at that time also, but it was not very much known to us. Hardly we knew were like competitions like, acha, medical mein jana hai, so you have NEET. Acha, engineering mein jana hai, so aapka kuch aur hi hai, JEE or something, and then GMAT for your MBA. That's all actually we knew.
Yeah.
Now you have something like CLAT. Now you have something like for your other vocational examination.
Yes,
So,
yes.
how aware do you see that children who are living in a tier 3 city, tier 2 city, and children who are in the metro cities? How aware are, what is the difference of awareness between these two?
Definitely, like even though we not like it, but still it's a fact that immediately after studies, the focus on kids is like whether you want to go to engineering or medical. It's still there inherently, and it takes some time for it to go. The trend is just started up, especially in metro cities, it started up, but it still need to boil down and get into the tier 2 and tier 3 cities. And more and more such sessions what you are people are conducting, and there is more need of career counselors, so that people get do aware that there are more different career options apart from engineering and medical, as well as when I think of even engineering as well, there are new age engineering skills which are coming up. Like we have engineering apart from traditional branches like civil, mechanical, ECES or computer science. We have niche branches of engineering, like we have engineering in artificial intelligence and machine learning. We have different branches of engineering are coming up, which are new age branches of engineering. And apart from
Yes.
that, we focus on students to realize their passion, what they are naturally good in. So somebody who's naturally good in and has an app for design, say for example, we encourage him to go for something which is on design thing. Give a design entrance test and get into a design college, right? So the focus is more on realizing your passion and doing something which you really love doing, instead of just going to peer pressure or parental pressure.
Right. So I think, I mean, the smaller cities have to catch up on that, and they're not even
Yes,
aware of so much of. I mean, children there are not aware also that there's something known as a career counseling thing, where they can approach a
yes,
person to help them with their aptitude and to understand where they can do well. And that is, I think, that is the point. That brings me to the last thing that I
Just
always
to
tell my
add here something,
educationists.
Shilpa, a
Yes,
very
please, please,
relevant
please.
point here. Like how schools have a teacher for every subject, like English, mathematics, social science.
Yes,
They
yes,
have dozens of teachers. I would strongly feel that there's a need for a career counselor full time in the school itself.
yes,
Which schools
exactly,
will like it?
exactly.
We have even international schools, even those schools don't have a career counselor in house, right? So there's a strong
Ah,
need that there's
they,
a career counselor
yeah.
who understand the
And
child's
especially,
strength.
when these days I see children, they want to study abroad, and they are
Hmm.
so confused about universities and subjects. So you might have an interest in a subject, but that subject might not be your aptitude.
Yes,
I might
yes,
be interested in physics, I mean, just an interest, but physics as a subject might not be my favorite, because there are
yes,
numericals and there are
right.
theory. So I might like the mechanics part of physics, but I wouldn't like the entire thing. So I think that is sometimes children get confused with this, and afterwards they realize, oh, I made a mistake. And it
Yes,
is very
exactly.
important for them to know that it is at any stage of life you can always change. You can always change and get back and start all over again, instead of fretting, fuming, frustration that, oh, what did I do? It's always easy to go back and start anew. And this century, I believe, is something very positive about this century, is that people do not mind if you have gone back and done something again.
Yeah, yeah.
Like when you go for an employment, people don't ask you. If you tell them honestly that, yes, I did not like it, and I just realized this was not my cup of tea, they are
Yes.
much more happier that at least some point of time you realized your interest. So, would you say that are there universities, or are there examples in front of you who have actually done this, who have actually gone back and done something that, okay, after 5 6 years of working, they realized, oh, this is not my dream job. I don't want to
Exactly.
continue with this.
Definitely, we have one such example is one of my mentor for digital marketing. He is called as Digital Deepak. He's a very India's topmost digital marketer by name Digital Deepak, and he's into this field from past 13 years. And in the year 2006 or 2007, he started his blog when blogging was not even heard much. And he's one of India's topmost trainer now in digital marketing. And when I
Right.
got to know about him more, I came to know that he's a civil engineer. So civil engineering and digital marketing is completely different, right? So it's all about
It's
going to,
absolutely, yeah.
yeah. You don't have the education should not become your it should not bind you, right? Oh, I've done civil engineering, I should get into civil only, even if you don't like it. So
Yes,
education is
yes,
something which
yes,
should
that's
liberate
right.
you and not bind you, right? If it's binding you, then
That
and you're not
that that
liking it.
is that is the
Yes,
tagline, that education should liberate you and not bind you.
bind you.
And
Yes, yes,
it should be that you're learning, like you were talking about in your speech also, upgrading. Higher education just doesn't mean a degree, an MSc or a PhD. It's like upskilling yourself,
yes.
learning
Constant.
every day something new. And that's what the pandemic has actually taught us, especially in education, where we
Exactly.
had only the mindset that only a learning can take place within the four walls of a classroom. Otherwise
Yes,
teacher or the student are not valued. But last year, I think it was very difficult for the educationists and parents and teachers also to accept this. Parents were
Yes,
especially skeptical that no learning is taking place. Oh, it's just like, a farce. Unless and until the school opens up and the children are inside the classes, this is not happening. But this year, I have seen the difference. This year, parents are actually serious with the online classes,
yes,
and they are keen that the children are attending it and home assignments and everything are done. So I think with the passage of time, changes are accepted,
yes,
and changing career is the new trend and not changing
yes,
jobs.
yes,
Right.
exactly.
So thank you, Manish. It was such a
Thank you so
wonderful
much.
discussion with you. And
Same
I hope we can have you some more time to actually talk about different careers in this 21st century that have a long lasting impression. One is, like you said, the degree, what you get a degree and you get the job according, and one is what you like to do, and
here. Yes,
you can always. And also I would like you to bring up this thing, what is a startup which these youngsters are very keen on these days. This has
yes,
become like a fashion. Everybody wants to have a startup the moment you do an MBA and you
yes.
feel like I'll have a startup,
Yes,
right?
that also.
So
Yes,
that is something I want you to sometime pick up on our platform
definitely.
and talk about it very seriously, not to discourage children what risks are there, but also to let them know the
Yes,
practical ways and how they can do it with less money.
yes, definitely. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, Manish. Have a very good
Thank you,
evening.
Gary.